I sing now news of the goddess Huntress we call Artemis, and I sing of a mortal man named Actaeon. The goddess Artemis, sister to Apollo and mistress of the moon. There is no greater hunter than she, none more fleet or sure of her mark with bow or spear. Actaeon too was a master hunter, and many a deer fell to his bow, and many offered up to Artemis in thanks. But Actaeon was given an ill fate. One night, chasing a boar, he burst into a clearing by a stream, and there, that very stream had keen-eyed Artemis selected for her moonlit bath. Naiads, dryads, all her nymphs around her. She had just disrobed and stepped into the stream when Actaeon appeared, wild from the chase. She grew angry that a mortal man had seen her unclothed, and with one cold look she turned him to a stag. A stag he then became, and Actaeon's own dogs chased after him, snarling at their master, now their prey. So are we, stranger, the hounds snapping at our heels. So are we.
Muse, grant me voice and memory to tell about the first of wars, the oldest battle, in the times before the gods had come to rule, when they were bowed beneath the heavy Titan hand. The ill-formed Titans, great in strength and cruelty, oppressed the gods, their offspring, until at last, behind the leadership of lightning-wielding Zeus, the gods took arms against the Titan kings. It was the first war, and the greatest. Oceans were moved, and mountains overturned. Gods and Titans struggled for dominion, might and cunning making victors first of one, and then another, until at last, wearied in their age, the Titans lost the war. The gods threw down their foes beneath the earth into the pit of Tartarus. Except for one, the strongest and cruelest of the Titans. And they chained beneath a mountain for revenge. Then Zeus was king of gods and ruler over all the world. The first gods, daughters and sons of the Titan Kronos, are Zeus, Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Hades. They rule the sky, the earth, the sea, and the underworld, where the dead come to dwell.
Oh, you inspire me to speak of the mightiest hero ever known, son of Zeus, a god, and of a mortal woman, the man named Hercules. Hated by the goddess Hera and beloved of Zeus, mighty-handed Hercules battled monsters great and fearsome. The Nemean lion he slew, and the Hydra many-headed, the Erymanthian boar, and thunderous giants. 12 tasks of legend did he perform. Hercules rose above the realm of mortals. Once, it is told he took the place of Atlas, who holds the world aloft. Hercules. Yes, Hercules bore the world itself upon his shoulders. And now, where is a hero half as great as he? What became of Hercules, you ask? The gods gave him immortality and gathered him up to Olympus. Speak through me, O Muse, and tell of the war with Troy. The war began with gods, but ended among mortal men, when the goddess Eris threw a golden apple to the gods, to the fairest written on its side. Athena, Hera, Aphrodite, the 3 great goddesses, could not agree to whom the thing belonged. Athena wise and warlike, Hera, regal queen, and Aphrodite, whose domain is love. They sought a mortal man, a royal prince of Troy named Paris, to resolve their fight. Hera offered kingdoms. Athena offered skill in war and bravery. But Aphrodite offered Paris the most beautiful woman in the world, and he chose her. Alas, this woman was the wife of great King Agamemnon, and when Paris claimed fair Helen, the house of Troy brought on the wrath of all the Greeks. They sailed in a war to claim the stolen bride, and many men fell in that bitter feud, fought for the folly of the vain, proud gods. The greatest mortal warrior ever to live was born and died to fight that war. For he was named Achilles, Thetis' son, whose wedding Eris was not invited to. He led the Greeks to victory, but died himself in glorious battle.
Oh, Muse, I sing now of a mountain nymph named Maia, and how with Zeus she bore a son named Hermes. Thus was born the swiftest god, fleet of foot with sandals winged, patron god of travelers and boundaries, of shepherds and of thieves. Hermes, who leads the dead to Hades, and who has often aided heroes in their tasks. When Maia gave birth, lying in a cave in Mount Selene, she took the infant in her arms and quickly fell asleep. The bright-eyed infant Hermes, seeing that she slept, crawled from her arms and then ran to Thessaly. He found the pasture where Apollo's sacred cattle grazed, forbidden to any but their owner. The infant Hermes stole some cows and hid them well away. He slaughtered one and took its gut, and with an empty tortoiseshell constructed the first lyre. The fleet-foot god then ran back home and wrapped himself back in his mother's arms. But Apollo appeared, angrily claiming Hermes had stolen his cattle. It was then that the infant took the lyre and began to play, and the lyre's sweet sound directly charmed Apollo, god of music, and he relented in his anger. He saw the lyre, and his desire for it was so great, he offered to let young Hermes tend his cattle in exchange for the instrument. And so the first, but not the last of Hermes' mischief came to no ill end. They say that Hermes invented the panpipes next, and traded them for the traveler's staff he always carries.
Truly the greatest builder ever to live was the man named Daedalus. Inspiring muse, grant to me the words to tell his tale. For Minos, king of Crete, did Daedalus make the labyrinth. It was built to house the terrible Minotaur. When Minos imprisoned him high in a tower, Daedalus built wings of wax. 2 sets of wings, one for himself, another for his son. Then he gave careful warning to his son. Fly not too high, he told him, for the sun will melt the wax. Fly not too low, for if the wings get wet, they will not fly. Then son and father put on the wings, and with the dawn took flight away from Crete and cruel King Minos. But as the day got on, young Icarus took joy in flight, and forgetting his father's words, soared up into the sky. He neared the sun. The waxen feathers softened, melted, and foolish Icarus fell from the sky. Daedalus flew on to Sicily, and there he grieved. He named the place Icaria, where Icarus fell. And then, in Sicily, he built a temple to Apollo, and left his wings as an offering in the temple there. There is a lesson to all in this story. The master knows balance. He neither flies too low nor too high, and reaches the far shore. The novice, in his inexperience, flies high, then falls. A short and beautiful life.
In the realm of the gods, things are as they are for all of time. When each day is done, Atum Ra, beneficent god of the sun, descends from the sky. there it is that he must set off in the boat of Ma'at to travel the murky waters of night, for without the boat in those dark waters he would be extinguished. And there too lurks Apep, the giant serpent formed at the start of time, coiled just before dawn in the 10th region of night. As Ra passes by, Apep leaps out, and enormous jaws, gaping wide, tries to devour the sun god. But fortunately Ra is strong, and on his boat rides a host of gods who struggle with the monster serpent and fight it back, and ensure that when the new day comes, the sun will rise again. It is true, some say that Apep was thrown beneath the world, and half his length is trapped beneath a mountain. They say if ever he should be freed, all chaos will reign.
Now Set and Osiris were brothers, children of Nut and Geb, sky and earth. By destiny, Osiris was the first pharaoh, and he ruled over the land with Isis his queen. He taught us to farm the land, to build and bake, to count and record. But Set was jealous of his brother, and he devised a plan. Set built a beautiful box of cedar and told Osiris that whoever fit inside could have the box. Osiris, trusting his brother, lay down inside. Wicked Set quickly closed the box and nailed it, then threw it in the Nile. But when Isis retrieved the box, Set grew angry. He found it and tore it open and cut his brother into 13 pieces, throwing them into the Nile. Isis again went out. She searched and searched, but found only 12. She then took wax and with magic formed the 13th part. In secret, hidden from Set's eyes, she performed the rites and ceremonies so that Osiris could properly enter the land of the dead, where ever since he has reigned. And just like Osiris, the first pharaoh, do all our pharaohs go to death. Yes, and it was Horus, son of Isis and Osiris, who reigned in Egypt thereafter. And when he was old enough, he made war on his evil uncle Set. Set was banished to the desert, banished from Egypt by all the gods.
Once there were two lands, the kingdom of the Upper Nile and the kingdom of the Lower. It was at this time that Horus ruled the Upper Egypt, and the wicked Set ruled along the Lower Nile. When they made war and fought, Set gouged Horus in the eye, and Horus cut off half Set's virility. Horus emerged victorious, and he was called Horus the Great. Set was exiled to the desert. The desert was dry and infertile because of Set's wound, and still the light of the moon, which is Horus's left eye, is pale compared to the light of the sun, which is his right. Now the first pharaoh of the two kingdoms was called Menes. He was the human, and he represented Horus. That's, it's complicated here. Horus was the first, and among mortals, he was Menes. And it was he who first wore the two crowns together, the symbol of the pharaoh.
Oh, the dead. In these times, so many dead. When Egypt was untroubled, all were buried with the Book of the Dead. In this book are written many spells and other things one must know to safely pass through Duat, the kingdom of death. After using the spells to get past demons and monsters of various types, they reach the halls of the dead. There Osiris, lord of the underworld, will weigh their heart upon the scales of justice. On one side, the heart. On the other side, the feather of truth. If they were wicked in life, their heart will be heavy, and they will be thrown to the monster Amot, devourer of souls. But if the heart is light,
they are free, given a second life there in Duat, land of the dead. Many are not properly buried in these times. Few of those souls will ever reach happiness and peace.
Everyone asks where the monsters came from. It is clear as day. They were sent by the enemies of the gods. No human mage could have done this. It was the giant serpent, Apep, who dwells coiled beyond the edge of the world. As Atum-Ra descended from the sky, Apep bit his heel. Then he spit out the blood and, uttering a magic spell, turned each drop into a monster. You see, Set, cursed be his name, hates our gods, and thus he hates Egypt's 2 kingdoms. No, there is nothing we can do, nothing. It is Osiris who must save us. But he is sleeping, for Set cast a foul spell upon him. Set, who the Greeks call Typhon, was banished to the desert after a terrible battle against Osiris. It may very well be true that Set seduced Sekhmet, goddess of war, to his side. That is why the gods could not stop them. Truly, this is a war of the gods, just as they fought long ago.
In ancient times, the goddess Ninsun bore a son to King Lugalbanda, and he was called Gilgamesh. 2 parts god and 1 part mortal, he came of age and became king, the mightiest of men ever to live. Now Anu, the sky god, created a man named Enkidu, wild and untamed, and sent him to Babylon. There Enkidu and Gilgamesh fought. Now no other man was stronger than Enkidu. Even he could not defeat Gilgamesh. So he bowed to the king, and they became best of friends. Now the great are called to do great deeds, and before long, Gilgamesh longed to vanquish the terrible guardian of the cedar forest, called Humbaba. So he and Enkidu set out, praying first to the sun god Shamash. And it is good they did, for without his help it might have gone badly. But the 2 warriors, helped by the sun god, traveled far to the cedar forest, and heroes that they were, slayed the demon monster there. It was Gilgamesh, rightful king, who cut off the monster's head. From the cedar wood they built a giant raft, and with it floated home again victorious. After Enkidu died, Gilgamesh sought long the secret of immortality. But in the end, even he, mightiest of mortals, in truth part god, was forced to realize death is a part of life.
Some days ago,
The 18 kingdoms are ruled together from the Silver Palace of Garuda Valley, far south of here. They say that valley is none other than Shambhala, the land of happiness. Our shamans, who we call Dongba, tell us of these things. I have never gone so far myself. If we do not live harmoniously with the spirit world, many ill things will befall us. All of nature, that's what is the spirit world. Our shamans use many things, such as prayer flags and rice offerings, to appease the spirit world. Our shamans learn powerful magic from the spirits. They lead us and protect us.
When Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, was invited up to the heavens, it was trouble. The Monkey King was stubborn, strong, and clever. Sun Wukong knew all kinds of magic. He could jump 800 miles in a single leap, and he had a staff that changed size at will. When the Jade Emperor, ruler of the immortals, invited the Monkey King, they thought he might behave. Maybe he would have, but sadly for them, they did not invite Wukong to the royal banquet. To spite their rudeness, he was later found eating all the peaches of immortality from the Emperor's tree, and he did many other wicked things besides. Then there was trouble. After he defeated the army of the heavens single-handedly and caused much other trouble, the immortals finally caught Sun Wukong. They trapped him under a mountain, a whole mountain, and there he's still stuck today. I didn't see it happen, and you didn't either. Some say earthquakes happen when Sun Wukong struggles against his bonds.
These are terrible times. Times of great woe to the living. And so it is we should hear about Nuwa, the mother of all mortals. Of clay she made us, after she made all the animals to fill the world, so it would not be empty. And then, when the great monster Gong Gong broke the pillar that held the heavens aloft, it was Nuwa who set it right. When the four directions were scattered, she returned north to north, and south the other way where it belongs. Her husband was Fuji, who taught mortals to be civilized, and many other useful things. The world is broken again. Will Nuwa come to fix it, or will some mortal fix it this time?
The great master Confucius taught us that ritual and virtue would perfect the world. But what good are they when rough beasts burn our houses and storm our walls? All my life I have studied and tried hard to observe my duties. What if all of it is swept away, like the wind sweeps fog from the river's edge? It is said our highest aim is to create virtue and harmony throughout the world. But such thoughts seem like a baby bird trapped in a raptor's jaws. You are a true warrior, I can see. We all should have studied the ways of war. In the end, maybe that is the only wisdom. Rites and music is what Confucius taught, meaning order and harmony. One is our duty, the other our reward. There's little hope in these times, yet we still must live by virtue.
It is said that before the great sage Lao Tzu left his post at the Imperial Library, Confucius found him there, and they talked for many days. It is said Confucius learned more from the sage than all the books in the whole library. When Lao Tzu left, he rode west on his water buffalo. Far at the western gate, a guard stopped him. "Before you go, great master," he pleaded, "write down your teachings. If you do not, they will surely be forgotten and lost. And because of this, we have the Tao Te Ching." Then Lao Tzu went west. He went into the desert, gone from all mortal eyes. The Tao, the way, is what Master Lao taught. To be in harmony with the way is to prevail. To be in harmony with it, one must be quiet, still, an uncarved block. Only then can one act.
Orpheus, son of Morpheus, master of music and song, inspire me to tell his tearful tale. It was fair Eurydice who won his heart, and on their wedding day, as she danced in a grove with nymphs, a snake took her by the heel. It bit her mortally, and Eurydice fell ill and died. How Orpheus did grieve! He played and sang so very sadly that trees lowered their branches and lions bowed their heads. He sang, and the gods came and whispered in his ear, and so he took himself to Aeornum, in Thesprutis, where between barren crags lies one of the ways into the sunless lands. And as he went, he sang, and all who heard him mourned. Orpheus sang to Charon, who wept as he steered the boat, and he sang to Cerberus, who lay his 3 snouts down and whimpered, and he sang to the lord of that place, whom we name not, and his lady, the goddess Persephone. Their hearts were moved, and they granted Orpheus's plea, with but one rule: that he could lead his beloved out of Hades, as long as he did not look back until they stood with feet firm on living soil. And so he started off, staring firmly ahead. But his heart wavered. He doubted. He feared. He thought he would go mad. He tore his hair, and in an instant he looked back. In horror, the shade of his beloved flickered, reached towards him, and faded once again into the depths. Never more to see the sun. Never more to see her love. Truly none could hear his song and not be swayed. Orpheus was like unto Apollo, playing the lyre, and haunting as sirens in his song.
To tell the story of our Lady Madea, mistress of poisons, gifted in divination, I call upon the goddess Hecate, and Kore, and the Nine. When first the hero Jason came to Colchis, seeking the golden fleece, then Our Lady, but a girl, first knew love. And it was she who gave him balm to protect him from the fire-breathing oxen, and she who showed him to set the men who grew from dragon's teeth, fighting amongst themselves, and she who set sleeping herbs before the dragon, who guarded the sought-after fleece. Then, with Jason she fled, and Jason she wed, but in the end he proved untrue. He deserted her, and took as wife the Princess Glauke. He would rule the day. A gift she sent the bride, a dress both finely weaved and dazzling to the eyes, and inside, lined with poison. But Medea's revenge was not yet full, for she would leave the fickle Argonaut nothing that he loved alive. So weeping all the while, her eyes averted, she took each of her children by him, and each she killed to spite the man she'd loved. Jason, you should know, was not the last of her ill fortune. Fleeing to Athens, Medea wedded King Aegeus, and the son she bore him would have then been king had not the long-lost, meddling Theseus returned to claim his rightful reign. No, Medea has had ill fate with heroes who can be cruel as well as great. It should be no wonder she does not love them now.
I sing, O Muse, of a living hero who walks among us, who with one dread blow, like the blacksmith's final hammerfall, forged for the world a new age, the age of men. So it was, upon Olympus' mount, with peerless might, this unnamed hero raised an arm against the greatest Titan, Typhon, slew him, and sent the Ancient One crashing to his grave. The world around, we heard the fall. It was 3 of Typhon's minions, foul cowards, who long ago from the gods' great war slunk off and hid in exile and defeat among the shadows. And then, with ancient magic long prepared, they loosed upon our world strange beasts and monsters. Yes, they blinded the gods that no immortal hand might stay their deeds. But hot upon their heels, unexpected and with growing strength, like to the rising sun, a single mortal went, one who was destined to slay them all and lay their dreaded champion in his grave. It is said by some that when Typhon died, the gods left us. But still, we prepare sacrifices and pray in temples. Would not our priests know if this were true?
We are trying to get in. But once there was a man, a king, who did everything he could to escape. His name was Sisyphus, wise and cunning, but in life he earned the wrath of Zeus. When Lord Hades came for him with manacles, Sisyphus asked him how they worked. The god put the manacles on, and Sisyphus locked them. For several days no one could die, until Ares, god of war, set things right. But Sisyphus was not yet done. He bade his wife give him no burial. So when he came to the Deadlands, to Persephone he spoke. He told her he was not buried, had no coins, and should never have crossed this river here. He begged to go back for a proper burial, never intending to keep his promise. When at last, Hermes was sent to fetch him back, they set Sisyphus before a boulder and a ramp. For all time as punishment, he must push it up the ramp, only to have it roll back down again. Sisyphus was as cunning as they come. He escaped this place twice. With things as they are, I would not be surprised if he tried again.
It was 10 full years we had waged our war on Troy. We Greeks out upon the beaches, and King Priam's people behind their mighty walls. Walls built, mind you, by Poseidon and Apollo, gods. We would never knock those down. So Odysseus says he knows what to do, and we all start to wonder, how does he think he can get past those walls? Well, at his orders, some men went off to do some woodwork, and all the troops were called back. As if we were fleeing cowards, we sat in our tents that day. No fight. All that woodwork, what do you think they made? A gleaming horse, 5 men, 10 men tall, and it rolled on wheels. Here is how it went, I will tell you. Rosy-fingered Dawn touches the Trojan walls and finds the horse sitting there, a gift. A gift? Are they giving up, the Trojans wonder? After all this time, is this cursed war done with? In goes the horse. And what they do not know is that every king and mighty warrior, Odysseus too, is lying in the belly of that wooden beast. They bide their time until night falls, and then they climb out. They slay the guards, they throw open the gates. The Trojan city Ilium is burned. The war is won. King Priam's son Hector had died before, and Priam and his children died upon that day. But I have heard Prince Aeneas of Trojan blood did flee and lives still.
We chose this war. You must know this. For we knew that it was right. We must do so or hang our heads shamefully. At first, we saw them, the Daemon forces, around the palace. Then they streamed out the great river. They tread upon our green and golden meadows, hateful and dark. We have fought, one against 100, 1,000, and in all our glory and might we have checked them. Yet every day brings another horde, and we fight them again. So we took up arms. We planned, and great King Agamemnon spoke to all of us. This is wrong, he said. We must fight or lose our only deaths. And when he spoke, all were with him. Some heroes fall, and they are gone from all existence. It is a noble, glorious end, but never shall they dwell in the Fortunate Isles, or anywhere. They are gone.
Rawr! Was that okay?
Rawr!
I sing now, O muse, of the tragedy of Pyramus and Thisbe, lovers they were in distant Babylon, their houses separated only by a wall, and yet forbidden to see each other because of a feud between their families. But their love was strong, so they whispered through the cracks in the wall about meeting in secret at night under a mulberry tree. But the fates were cruel, and on that long-awaited night, as Thisbe waited at the tree, a terrifying lion scared her away. So all Pyramus would find was a veil she had left behind, and the lion with its fangs still bloody from a recent kill. Believing that his love had been slain, Pyramus threw himself onto his sword, only for Thisbe to return shortly afterward and, finding him dead, kill herself as well out of sorrow. It is said that ever since that day, the mulberries have borne the dark red color of their blood. We will be performing in Corinth soon. It will be the highlight of the festivities. Yes, we are pretending to be persons other than ourselves. Dionysus inspired me with a great idea there, I must say. Never have you heard of a greater pair of lovers than Pyramus and Thisbe, and never shall you hear of another one like them.
By Apollo's grace, I sing today of the great hunt for the Aetolian boar. 'Twas in the city of Calydon, where the foolish king Aeneas once forgot to honor Artemis in the harvest sacrifices. Insulted, the goddess of the hunt sent the largest and most ferocious boar the world had ever seen to devastate the land. It destroyed crops and slew cattle, and the terrified farmers had to seek refuge inside the city walls. Tales of the notorious monster attracted many famous hunters and heroes from all over Greece who were seeking to win its hide and the glory of the kill. One of them was Atalanta, a fierce huntress, who some said had been trained by Artemis herself. Though some objected to the presence of a woman, they all banded together for the hunt. And while it was Aeneas' son Meleager who struck the killing blow, she had been the first to wound it, where many others had failed. It was then, after the actual threat had been vanquished, that their worst trouble started with smitten Meleager offering the prized hide to Atalanta instead of keeping it for Calydon. His proud relatives took offense and stole it, which infuriated him. And so Artemis' vengeance went on as Aeneas' family proceeded to destroy itself in a tragic spiral of killing and revenge. What became of Atalanta, you ask? She lived on and devoted herself to Artemis. Later, it is said, she joined the search for the Golden Fleece. But that's another story. It's curious, don't you think? How we humans often tend to unite only in the face of a common threat. And it doesn't always take a vengeful goddess to undo this. It certainly didn't in the case of those bandits. Man can be his own monster. I am not sure whether our lives would be better without the gods, though knowing they are gone certainly forces us to take more responsibility for our own actions and motives, both good and ill. Are boars evil by nature? We see them as bad omens, and if they are a threat, they have to be killed. But they are beasts, so maybe we should try to understand them before we condemn them.
You should know that King Gilgamesh is no stranger to the Aesir. They said that he has been tricked by them on several occasions in the past. Once, many years ago, he fell for what he thought was a vagabond woman. In exchange for a favor, she seduced him into promising her as much of his land as she and 4 oxen could plow in one day and one night. In truth, however, she was the Aesir called Gufun, goddess of the harvest, and the oxen she used were her 4 strong sons who had all been fathered by a giant. So, during the day and night, their plow turned over a vast area of land, so deep that it left a hole which is now the Lake of Renard. And they took that land away from Gilgamesh kingdom and dropped it into the sea, creating this very island we are now standing on, in the same shape as the lake. It is also said that it was Woden who made Gilgamesh and his followers worship the Aesir as gods. But with powers like that, who would doubt them? These accounts of them attacking us humans are most troubling. Have we offended them? Why would they suddenly consider us a threat?
I have heard songs composed for you, the slayer of 1,000 monsters. It is an honor, if I may say so. You are a hero of this world. It is only one, however. We believe there are at least 9 worlds existing together in the great world tree Yggdrasil. From the nothingness of the Ginnungagap, it grows out of 3 wells, the Well of Ud and the Well of Maia in the primordial worlds of ice and fire where the giants dwell, and one in the darkness of Helheim, not unlike your river Styx. Up in its branches lies glorious Asgard, from whence the Aesir came, and the unseen realms of other gods and spirits like Vanaheim and Alfheim. And in the midst of it all, seemingly far away but touched by them all, are we, in Midgard. One only has to look around to see it, the rainbow bridge upon which the Aesir travel, the listless fog in the barrows, or the sound of Dornor's mighty chariot. They are all echoes from elsewhere. There are many tales of gods travelling between the worlds, especially Woden on his 8-legged horse on his unending quest for wisdom, or when the Jotun king Thrym stole the hammer Jotun from Asgard and wanted Freya as his bride in exchange. There are also many creatures living on the tree itself who gnaw and claw at it as it grows back, like the wily Ratatoska who carries words of malice between the noble eagle at the top of the tree and the monstrous Niggehoga at the bottom, who continues the feud for his mischievous amusement. We humans are not destined to see those worlds, except for Helheim, where the dishonourable dead go. Only those who die in glorious combat will the Valkyries carry to Asgard. Or so we thought. But where will I go if I perish fighting against those very warriors? It's all very worrying. Your presence brings us hope, hero.
We are Fjolkunnig, knowing of many things. We have seen you come, World Walker. We have seen you go. A queen bid farewell. A hero has left. The breath of spring. Betrayal of the gods. A princess called out. A hero has come. The blot of autumn. Betrayal of the gods. A king cries in silence. A hero will go. The sons of winter. Betrayal of the gods. Time will part the fog, World Walker. A king wants to see you. An adversary awaits. Do you like me playing the Aulos? The merchants tell that this instrument was invented by Athena herself, but she threw it away after seeing what blowing it made her face look like. Luckily for you, we bandsmen don't mind looking silly if you enjoy it. They say the first mortal to pick up the Aulos was a satyr named Marsyas. He was a skillful player and captivated many with its sound, so much that one night he would challenge the god Apollo and his lyre in what he thought was a playful bet. But Apollo won, then strung him up from a tree and punished him horribly for his hubris. It was a cruel lesson, yes, but much like with Arachne and her weaving, Marcia should have known better than to challenge a god. You Greeks have such grim stories, but I kinda like them. Enjoy the performance.
Greetings, brave hero. Your deeds ring deep into the bark of Yggdrasil. Come, I am Bragis, god of skalds, and I shall write a play about you, the savior from the south. Ah, how I envy your mortal coil. To be immortal is such a bore. How can one ever feel anxious or aroused, for example? I find solace in my craft, but my father tells me it's a waste of time, and I should concentrate on more serious matters, as is his inclination. Well, I refuse to follow in his footsteps. Come the end of the world, I want to go out smiling. And poetry brings a smile to my face. Isn't that what it's really all about? I just want to see